Hello, today we are going to take a first look at today's daily build of Kubuntu 25.04. So Kubuntu 25.04 is a Linux operating system from the Ubuntu family. It uses a different desktop environment, not GNOME, but KDE Plasma 6. It's going to be released in next month. Let's find the largest file in here, this one, desktop amd64.iso. Save. In order to get to this page, on Google I searched for Kubuntu 25.04. So 25 stands for the year, 2025, and 04 stands for the month, which is April. Downloading the ISO file has finished. Let's create a virtual machine. We're going to use Virt Manager. Virtual Machine Manager, QEMU, KVM. File, new virtual machine, ISO, browse, lucky, choose volume, could not detect, let's write Ubuntu in here, 24.10, forward, 10 gigabytes of random access memory, 14 vCPUs, so CPU threads, forward, Kubuntu 25.04, customize, finish. All of the settings are already okay. The only thing that could be improved is to change the number of hardware sockets to just one and have 14 CPU cores and no hyperthreading. Begin installation. So this is totally optional. It's creating the virtual hard disk of the virtual machine. And it's booting from the ISO file in live CD mode. This is the GNU Grub bootloader. 25 seconds timeout. The first option is to try or install, which means it will probably load in graphical user interface mode in live CD mode, and from there we will run the installer wizard. Installer wizard is started automatically. Try probably runs in live CD mode, so it loads the KDE Plasma 6 desktop environment. We could just start installing. This is the installer that's called Calamares, American English. Let's make it New York. English US. Normal installation will install Mozilla Firefox from Snap. Minimal. I had issues previously with the minimal installation. It didn't install the web browser. That's not a problem. It's easy to install. But then it also did not install, I know, some theming package. So I'm going to go with normal, and then I'm going to uninstall whatever is extra. Okay, next. So BIOS probably means that it booted in BIOS mode, not in EFI mode. So that's the default for virtual machines, and it's the better default for now. Okay, virtual hard disk 250 gigabytes. Delete all the data. use ext4, one partition, and there's a bootloader in the master boot record. Looks okay. Swap to file. I prefer swap to file than swap to partition. Kubuntu 2504, user and password. Next. And MS-DOS partition table, this means that it's not using GPT partition table, GUID partition table, but MBR partition table. ext4, it's not using BTRFS or ZFS. It's going to install grub. This is the point of no return. Install now. It's a virtual machine, freshly installed virtual machine, freshly created virtual machine, a fresh virtual machine image, hard disk image, so not a problem. If we selected something wrong, we can easily undo by just stopping the virtual machine like this and then deleting the virtual machine like this. So from the main menu of this virtual machine, you go virtual machine and delete. Okay, this is the installer wizard. There's some debug support. There's more verbose output with a toggle log button. It's doing the big file copy from the ISO, so from the CD-ROM drive to the virtual hard disk using rsync. Okay, we'll be back. Creates locale, the English US UTF-8. Has created the user administrator, initram fs, grub install. It's installing some additional packages related to language packs. Input. It's removing packages related to Calamare, so this installer wizard application. And this is it. Extremely fast. I don't know if it took 8 minutes, but 8 minutes with me clicking carefully next. From the point of no return until here is probably, I don't know, 4 minutes or something. Restart now. Reboot. Press enter to reboot. And now it's booting not from the ISO, but from the virtual hard disk. The timeout in grub is really minimal, which is great. And we're at SDDM, the desktop manager. This allows us to select the user, password, and type of desktop session. I'm going to go straight to X11. And that's it. Some files are being created in here for the first time that KDE Plasma 6 is running for this user. The first configuration files are being created for some applications. This is the Welcome Center, the KDE application. First run wizard. Let's see if this thing works. I have a web browser, Firefox installed from snaps, goes to ubuntu.com. Not the best URL, it should go to kubuntu.com or wherever the Kubuntu homepage. In here you can hover or click. It shows how KDE Plasma looks by default. There's a desktop, which is actually a widget container. And then at the bottom, there's a main panel, which is also a Plasma widget. And then the start menu, kickoff or application launcher. This is the image-only task manager. This is the system tray, digital clock, and this is the peek at the desktop. Next. Krunner Alt F2, this thing. Overview. Windows key plus W. KDE Connect is the application that allows you to connect your KDE Plasma installation with your mobile phone, for instance. System settings is this application. I'm not sure how up to date this landing page is. 2022. Next. Manage software. Plasma Discover is the app store for KDE Plasma. Allows you to install applications from binary packages, in this case from Ubuntu deb files, but also from Snap and from Snap in the sense of the Snap Store and from Flat Hub. Next. Send usage information. Breadth and compatibility of the full Ubuntu archive. Okay, so kubuntu.org is probably the homepage for Kubuntu. Donate. These things don't look like buttons because, I know, they don't have a button-like look. They don't look like a hyperlink. We don't get the mouse cursor with the hand. So I didn't even know if I could click on these things. I would improve a bit the look of these buttons, or hyperlinks, or what are they? Next. Discuss.kd.org. Make a donation. Get involved. Let's see at least that the links work. Finish. And that's it. This Plasma Welcome application, the first run application, should run just the first time when you install your operating system. And I'm not sure if and when parts of it will be shown, like once per year, once at major upgrades. Okay, so back to the default desktop. a desktop main panel, icons only task manager, application launcher, which is this guy, application launcher. There's alternatives, application dashboard and application menu. System tray, digital clock, and minimize all windows. Let me just do what I usually do on Kubuntu 25 on Kubuntu. The very first thing that I want to do here is to install the XRDP RDP Remote Desktop Protocol server. Let's also install the SSH server. Let's also install updates. The image, the ISO file that I have used is really recent, is from today. So there's just a small list of packages, the packages that need to be installed, I don't know, 16. This is my wiki page, and mariusp.github.io. In here I have instructions on how to install the XRDP server. Let's look at this operating system. We just need to install 2 packages. I'm going to also install the OpenSSH server just in case. My goal here is I do not want to use this application. I do not want to use Vert Manager, graphical user interface, console, graphical console spice, this thing, in order to connect graphically to the virtual machine. I want to use the remote desktop protocol. And if I want to connect in console mode, in text user interface mode, not in graphical user interface mode, I'm going to connect using the SSH protocol. For this, I need to install the OpenSSH server. I did. And now I'm going to install the XRDP server. Okay, and this should be it. I'm going to restart the virtual machine and not use this application any longer. I'm just going to use Virtual Machine Manager to start and stop the virtual machine, and that's it. After I find out the IPv4 address of the virtual machine, which can be seen in the main toolbar, show virtual hardware details, network interface card. It's this thing ending in 116. Let's connect via SSH and see if it works. SSH administrator at 192, 168, 122, 116. Yes. Okay, and let's do the same thing with the X-Free RDP Remote Desktop Protocol client. At the end of the page, there's the sample command line. And the IPv4 address ends with 116 instead of 168. Yes. And that's it. We're inside the future version of Kubuntu. We do not need this window any longer. Okay, and now I'm going to do the things that I usually do after I reinstall the main operating system on my hardware. So each 6 months on my real hardware computer, I make a complete backup, and then I reformat all of the disks. There's just one disk in here, a 2 terabyte NVMe. And then I install fresh from scratch the new version of Kubuntu. After that, I'm probably doing the following things. So I do not like the fact that the mouse cursor is so small. Let's increase the size of this combo box. I totally do not like it, why it covers the size 24 and why it preselects 12 instead of preselected 24 or not selecting anything. The fact that the pop-up window of the combo box is shown beneath the cursor, and then the fact that the cursor already selects something in here is a common source of issues. So the current size is 24. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to 36. Apply. Next up. Let's see the list of applications that we have installed. We have Firefox and Thunderbird. Let's remove Thunderbird. I do not use an email graphical user interface app client. I do not know the command line of Snap. Probably remove. So it uninstalls the Thunderbird Snap in the sense that it's a single file that gets mounted, and then it gets connected to the rest of the system. Thunderbird has been removed. Let's list again the installed packages. I really want Firefox to come from Snap, and that's what's provided. I want more applications to come from Snap. I want Chromium, but let's try to install these graphically using the KDE Plasma Desktop Discover App Store. So I want to look at the settings, and Snap should be enabled somehow. Oh, Chromium. Enter. All applications. So I would expect in here to be a Snap backend installable and configurable. How do we do that? This probably is the backend for Flatpak, and I'm not sure where's the backend for Snap. Let's search for kcalc. Okay, doesn't. Okay, it provides me the option of installing it from Snap. So that means that the Snap backend is pre-installed in Plasma Discover in this application. I'm not sure why it's not enabled in here, or it's probably not disableable. And I can make it default. Yes, great. So all applications, search again for Chromium. And it refuses to search in the Snap Store. Okay, what about Visual Studio Code? So I'm going to guess that searching on the Snap Store is not working. Maybe there's a bug here. So let's try to find on the internet how to install these Snap packages. What am I seeing here? Let's never show the bookmarks toolbar. How do we hide this thing? Don't show any sidebar ever. Okay, so we want to search on the Snap Store for Chromium. I search Snap Store Chromium. From what I remember, Google Chrome is not available in the Snap Store. But there's Chromium, and Chromium has worked correctly for me for 6 months. We just want to install it. Maybe this flow doesn't work yet, so I'm in the Snap Store. I have searched for the Google Chrome alternative, which is Chromium. I click on the button Install, the green one, and then I click on the button View in Desktop Store, and this probably on Ubuntu opens GNOME software, the App Store from the GNOME desktop, and in Ubuntu KDE Plasma 6 opens the application chooser. There's Snap. I have selected the KDE Plasma App Store, which is Discover. And now maybe the list of applications which are available in the Chrome, in the Snap Store has been downloaded, because now I can see the applications that I actually want to install. So I want Chromium, install from Snap. It's downloading the image file. Maybe there are some other snaps which are needed as dependencies. It depended on a old base, if I remember correctly. We'll see immediately the list of snaps that I have installed after installing Visual Studio Chrome, Visual Studio Code, and Chromium. It finished installing. Now I can probably launch from the App Store or from the Start menu. Let's see if it's in here. Chromium, yes it is. Let's see if the launch button works. And it does. Next up, home. Home. How do we get back to the home? We're certainly not in the home right now. Okay, So most popular, next up code from Snap, correct. It should not request the password of my user twice. It should just cache it or something. It's a classic Snap. The third time that I'm asked for a password. One is more than enough. Okay, let's see if it launches correctly. How do we do this? Mark done. Show welcome page. Close and close. Okay. What else do? I uninstall software that I don't need. Let's see if the favorites look okay. Firefox is already pinned on the task manager. Let's also pin the other web browser, which is Chromium. Pin to task manager. So there's no need to be in favorites. Let's remove it from here. Discover can stay here, but not here because I don't really use Discover at all. Unpin from task manager. Unpin this one also. This order. Okay, so in favorites, I want the applications which are not pinned. So I want console, I want Kate, and system settings. So it looks okay. Next up, the applications that I don't need. I have installed the default installation method of Kubuntu. I did not select minimal installation. I do not use LibreOffice. Let's see how we can remove it. Uninstall or manage add-ons. We're depending too much on Discover. Office, this guy. Uninstall. Doesn't say anything. Uninstall. So it should say, I do not know the name of the deb package that you're trying to uninstall as a message box. LibreOffice Writer. Remove. Okay, and now it offers me to install it either from Debs or from Snap. Office is empty. Not really. Remove. Asks the password the second time, which is not okay. Impress. Yeah, from the command line you could just uninstall using globs and purge, etc. So it's way faster to actually uninstall all of the LibreOffice suite. Okay, in internet I have what I need. I don't use NeoChat, so let's remove this thing. In graphics, we have the image viewer, ocular. These games I do not use, and it's extremely clean. Everything's as clean as possible. I do not use any of these two media players, the audio player and the video player, Elisa and Haruna. Okay, let's install some command. Let's look at the snap list now. I need a menu in console. How do I get there? Menu, more, show menu bar, this thing. File, new window. And now snap list looks like this. Core 22 is Ubuntu 22.04, and it also installed Ubuntu 2020.04. This is probably required by Visual Studio Code. Okay. Next up, let's continue installing software. The minimal software for the command line. So that's apt install emacs, no x, mc, git, git k, git GUI, like this. Yes. No configuration. And then I'm going to install some graphical user interface software. The most important for me is the Orthodox file manager, the twin pane file manager, Crusader. Apt install Crusader. Let's see which version of Crusader it installs. I'm not sure. Let's deconnect or log out the current user because it's not respecting the mouse cursor that I have selected. So log out. And now we'll reconnect using the x3rdp client. This is again the command line. So x3rdp, the user, the size for the desktop, width and height, 1080p, the IPv4 address of the RDP server, the best protocols. I want the best speed possible, network LAN. Dynamic resolution, if 1080p is not enough, is not available like this at this moment, the window maximized will be smaller than 1080p. Then the x3rdp window will tell via the remote desktop protocol to the XRDP server, hey, tell KD Plasma to change its resolution to something that's actually better for me as a remote desktop protocol client window. And then we say pass the sound from the remote, so from the RDP server to the RDP client. And now we should respect the cursor that I have used, the mouse cursor. I needed to resize the window because I could not see the plasma panel in the FreeRDP client. But you can resize the FreeRDP client as you want. The resolution of the virtual machine will change correctly to anything you want. Which also allows you to work side by side, have half of the screen be the virtual machine and half be the host machine. Okay, next up, let's do some more settings. I want to remove this hot corner. So that's edge. This thing should be nothing. This should be 15. I want the best fonts possible. Fonts. Anti-aliasing, sRGB, RGB, and I want full. Okay. I needed to change some settings in Firefox because it showed the sidebar by default. So from the hamburger menu, settings, this thing, search for sidebar and uncheck the checkbox show sidebar. And then I also do change the new tabs to blank page for new tabs and new windows. And I also change the download location to always ask where to save files. I usually only last for a number of minutes until I change to showing the KDE Window Manager KWin title bar. Let's see how many minutes I make it this time. Let's now configure Crusader. Okay, okay, okay. Panel compact. View 12. And tab bar position top. Okay. And what else? The text editor. So in general, viewer, editor, I'm going to use Kate. And that's it. Not really. Settings, don't show any toolbars. Don't show function keys. Don't show status bar, but show a embedded terminal. Okay. With that out of the way, next up would be to replace the pinned file manager. I do not want Dolphin here. I want Crusader. So third position, the first two positions in the icons only task manager are web browsers and then a file manager. Let's try to do something bold. Let's try to start programming for KDE. Get involved. Development. Okay, operating system. I should have a recent enough version of the Qt framework, which I do not know if I have or not. Let's ask. Qt and base. There should be a Qt base package. And there's none. So the version is probably 6.8.2. Okay. And we need 6.8 because that's what was released. Okay. Next up, we need to set up KDE Builder. Let's look at the first command lines that we should execute. These things. But we want to make tilde/.local/bin work correctly first. Okay, so echo $path. It's not okay, should contain tilde/.local/bin. Probably the directory does not exist. Yes, it does not exist. Okay, so there should be a directory tilde/.local/bin. Let's create it. Let's let KDE Builder actually create it. Command not found database. Update. It seems that curl is not available by default in Kubuntu 25.04 if you install it using the minimal installation option, which is very strange. No. It's just wget. So we need to install curl. Sudo su apt install curl. I need to run apt auto remove. So apt update and apt upgrade and apt auto remove. Continue, yes. Mostly LibreOffice and dependencies of LibreOffice. Okay. Now we should try again. So it downloads a file using curl into the home directory. The file is going to be named tilde/initial_setup.sh, and then it's running it with bash. It's installing various dependencies, in this case Python 3 modules. it has created files in ~/.local/bin. Let's look there. There's KD builder, a symlink, in ~/.local/share, KD builder. This is a git clone. Okay. $path, the environment variable path still does not contain ~/.local/bin. Okay, let's look at the configuration files and try to figure things out. There's a .profile file and a bash rc file, nothing else. Let's look at the .profile file. It says if there's a ~/.bashrc, it's going to execute it. If there's a ~/bin, it's going to prepend it to the path environment variable. And if there's a ~/.local/bin, it's going to prepend that. Which means that it probably forces us to log out again. Let's log in. And now the environment variable path is correct. It contains ~/.local/bin. While we're here, let's see if YouTube works correctly via the remote desktop protocol. Let's choose a random video. I have resized by accident the FreeRDP client, which I do not want, so I totally need the KWin window decorations for the web browser that I use, which is Mozilla Firefox. Let's see how we do that. Title bar, this guy, yes. Okay, I'm used to using KWin window decorations when resizing windows, double-clicking on them, docking a window to take half of the screen. Okay, so this is how YouTube works. The speed seems okay. Let's increase the quality here. It works correctly. So the remote desktop protocol is really good for me. Let's continue from where we were. So we fixed the ~/.local/bin. We have downloaded a file, initial setup.sh. We have run it. Some Python packages were installed using apt install. And this Git repository invent.kd.org/sdk/kd-builder has been git cloned into ~/.local/share. Now this executable should be available. See? Yes, because the tilde/.local/bin is in the path environment variable, and there's this symlink which points to tilde/.local/share. So we can run this command line. Okay, let's look at this configuration file. Middle click paste works correctly. Let's make this debug. And that's it. The rest of the settings are okay. We ran generate config. Next up, we need to install a ton of packages, at least 1000 packages. Most of the Qt 5 deb packages that are available in Ubuntu, most of the Qt 6 packages, all of their dependencies, most of the Xorg libraries, Wayland libraries, image codecs, audio codecs, video codecs, compression algorithms, debug tools, build tools. All of the packages have finished installing, except this guy, libgpgme11dev. Okay, and we're preparing to build kcalc, which is the KD graphical user interface desktop calculator. It will build 28 Git repositories. Okay, so it downloaded, it git cloned the Git repository sysadmin repo metadata from KD's Git repositories from invent.kd.org. Then it git cloned this Git repository from the KD GitLab instance at invent.kd.org. This is a non-KD Git repository, a KD Git repository, a KD Git repository. All of these are dependencies and libraries, and the final one, the 28th Git repository, will be what we actually want to build, which is kcalc. Let's see if kcalc comes pre-installed in Kubuntu 2504. This is the application. So Kubuntu 2504 comes with a fresh version of Qt 6.8.2 and KD Framework 6.11. So from what I see here, it's the very latest version of KD frameworks from a month ago, 6.11. Everything seems to be okay. I didn't encounter any issues apart from the FreeRDP flickering issue, which is this thing. So there's a window here that flickers if I move it, if I unmaximize it. But I'm not sure if this issue is from the new Kubuntu installation virtual machine or from the FreeRDP client. Everything seems to work as I expected. All of the software versions are newer. Importantly for me, Crusader works correctly and it's using Qt 6. It's going to be a smooth upgrade for me from Kubuntu 24.10 to Kubuntu 25.04. This is it. Thank you.